Kia ora. Welcome to Monday the 17th of October 2022. We were about to hit a cold spell here in a little patch of Tennessee. I think pretty much everywhere, certainly in the Midwest. Temperatures are going to plummet overnight, Monday night and Tuesday night to down below freezing. So we shall see. We've taken some time to basically effectively prepare for winter. So we shall see how that plays out. Just draining pipes and the usual sort of stuff that you have to think about for freezing, and we're a little more exposed, so just a little more prudency. Anyway, it's going to get cold, and we're pretty much ready for it. So plenty of propane and everything else as well. So be a good test for winter. Monday, well, Dawn and I were watching a video from the Self-Reliance festival. Toolman Tim from Canada, he's a regular on Nicole's Living Free in Tennessee shows. Does a lot of videos on tools and, strangely enough, and other bits and pieces. But he was doing a session on how to create content effectively for social media content creation, and it was quite interesting. So I know I'd kind of said before, we're doing this as an amateurish vlogging exercise, and particularly my rambles, which are really, for reasons that have been said, is to kind of get around certain social anxiety issues, or however you want to put it. Break through the introvert barrier, I guess. It's easier when you're kind of talking to yourself, but knowing that you're not really talking to yourself. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about that, and we might make some changes. I really don't know. We hadn't really talked about monetizing this channel. I mean, you got to get like 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of video on YouTube before you can even do anything. And need to learn how to work a selfie stick apparently. But the for that extra landscape distance. Where was I going with this? Yeah, still a ramble, don't worry. But anyway, a little bit of context. So when I set up my publishing business way back, and this was the plan in 2002, though we didn't incorporate the company until 2003, there was a bit of licensing back and forth because the company we were originally going to license with actually went under, and then the rights reverted back to the original owner. So anyway, long story with that one. I'm happy to talk about that and the whole process for falling accidentally into that field if anyone really is interested. A lot of lessons learned. But anyway, one of the principles that I was working towards was securing rights to libraries of content that weren't available in digital format. Bottom line. And the reason for that was, and I did not know this at the time, was that it was the same principle that Amazon actually technically use. And there's a name for it. It's called the long tail effect. And what the long tail effect does is it basically is a mechanism for catering to people who are after copies of books or media generally that are long out of print, that you can't get hold of easily. Normally you have to scour secondhand bookstores and things like that, let alone finding them digitally online in ebooks. And back then ebooks were very much a nascent technology, let alone print on demand. I like to think that we were among the pioneers. There may be a little conceit. I think it's true, but in the particular genre we were working at, we were some of the early customers on sites like Drive-Thru RPG and the like. But anyway, nowadays it's fairly passé. But anyway, the point I'm making, long tail effect. This is actually where Amazon makes pretty much most of its money, from book sales and media sales and things, because they have massive warehousing capabilities, so they can hold all this obscure stuff. And what you tend to see is like the top 50 or top 100 lists, but they really only make the tip of the sales iceberg. So most of the money, the real money, I guess, comes from selling one of these and one of that and one of the other thing to those people who want them and have been looking for them and are willing to pay a premium often for those as well. Now this doesn't actually segue directly into homesteading or anything along those lines. And if anyone's interested, let me know in the comments and I can talk more about these particular areas, because I have some real world experience. The next thing that kind of came about, I guess, is the 1,000 True Fans model, also just known as the 1,000 Fans model. And you'll see a lot of music artists, and not just music artists actually, I take that back, because with the advent of Kickstarter and Indiegogo and the like, you'll see a lot of authors who are bypassing traditional media companies, record labels and the like. They're doing their own thing, and they're marketing specifically to the fan base, to their fan base. And the gist of the 1,000 Fans principle is this: to make a reasonable living, or make a good living, you need 1,000 fans. You just need 1,000 fans. 1,000 people who will purchase your content, and usually without question, they'll attend your concerts, they'll buy your records, they'll buy your books. They may not even listen or read it, whatever. I think Toolman Tim actually mentioned that he'd had some subscriptions from various homesteaders over the years that quite literally hadn't even opened and read, which I actually, that actually struck a chord. I actually grinned at that one, being an avid collector of role-playing games and looking at my library and going, yeah, bought that, never even opened it. Might have actually opened the cover and had a look, and then that's pretty much it on the shelf for some other time when I get around to it. But the purpose for a lot of those purchases was actually to support the creator, because I liked what the creator was doing, and my mechanism for supporting the creator was to give them money to help them, pay their bills and hopefully create more content. So that's where the 1,000 Fans principle kicks in. 1,000 True Fans sounds really, wow, 1,000 true fans, we are the 1,000. But it isn't just 1,000 necessarily. It could be 2,000, it could be 500, it could be 10, who knows. So I'm thinking a little more about that. I'm not saying that, from our perspective, that we have 1,000 true fans. My ego does not extend to that. I think at time of writing we have 60 odd subscribers, and thank you very much for that. It's greatly appreciated. Hopefully you are getting some value from the materials that Dawn has been putting up, and on some of the stuff we're doing here, and there's a lot of content out there. But anyway, what Tim was saying kind of resonated, I guess. I've personally been I've personally been resistant, I guess, to showing my ugly mug on social media and talking about the things that I'm passionate about. And I think some of that is because it's going to sound weird, I know, but because I don't think I'm good enough, or I don't think I'm saying anything interesting enough, or I don't think I have anything in, that people really want to listen to. And that may not be true. I don't know. I guess that's kind of for me to think and for others to go, no, that's not actually true. But where I think we're going, and this is just going to be a bit of a wait and see and think about it some more. From a personal level, at least, is I do have a lot of experience in some things, good and bad, that may be useful to others, and so I'm considering possibly maybe doing some separate postings on that. They'll be a little more formal. They won't really be, professional level with blah 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 blah. I really eschew all that, but I will deliver facts and deliver information and share some experience, including the always useful mistakes that so that others may not have to go through those areas. There are some other parts where other areas that obviously I'm quite passionate about. I have been passionate about in the past, and maybe that's a mechanism to rekindle that passion. The other obvious candidates, of course, is that we're doing the homesteading thing. Like a lot of others, it's being videoed. There's a lot of content, and people do like that. I think they like to know that others are actually doing it, and that it can be done. In our case, you can purchase some land, and you can get the land cleared, and you can relocate states and probably countries successfully, and you can plan. And I know Dawn actually did a lot of planning for this, and probably be kind of cool to share her thoughts and processes on how she went about that. And I'm putting that on Dawn without her knowing. And I say Dawn because it was a two-part process, but credit where credit is due. She did do the heavy lifting on that one and the lion's share of the move. As she does among other things. This thing is both our dream, but hers probably more than mine. If you had to pick someone, this is something she really always wanted to do, and she's done a lot of work with permaculture and stuff in the past, or not work, but a lot of research on permaculture, and been involved in various forums and things for a very, very, very long time. Certainly, before we actually moved to our homestead in Ohio. So I'm not trying to shift the onus if it all goes horribly wrong. Don't worry. So yeah, thoughts, comments. If you think this is a good idea, let me know. Let us know. If you think this is stupid ideas, then let us know. If you think this is a plan so cunning you could pin a tail on it and call it a weasel, let us know. If you would like to hear more about any specific topics, some things that maybe have been discussed in previous rambles, let me know. I do plan to do one or two or more on mental health. Not specifically as it applies to homesteading, though I have my thoughts on that, which I will quite happily share. This is one I've been thinking about for a while. and you know, if it's interesting enough to others, maybe at an SRF or some other local homesteading convention, you know, I might be happy to talk about that. Because there is a lot of it going around, shall we say, and I don't know that it's actually talked about a lot, kind of in the homesteading community, well, any community enough, but it is an area that I have some experience with, and I'm sure others have plenty to say on that too. Yeah, like I said, publishing, e-publishing, various business models such as, you know, the long tail effect, that's still very valid, and I always look for opportunities there to capitalize on that. Yeah, we'll finish on that. Hopefully this has been an interesting ramble this morning. This is the calm before the storm for work. I'm about to go in and get on with my work day and have some coffee. I hope you all have a great Monday. If you're in one of the cold parts of the country, stay warm, and we'll talk again tomorrow, probably in freezing cold temperatures, so I may be dressed accordingly or it could be video inside. Anyway, take care, be well.